Well, that's bright. Morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be here to have the opportunity to chat with Nick. Hoping this will be a very informative conversation for you. It's certainly going to be for me. So delighted you've been able to join us, Nick. Nick is a Senior Director of Connectivity for Marriott. So looking forward to hearing your insights and opinions. And without further ado, Nick, maybe you could tell us a little bit about where you sit in the organization, what your role and goals are.
Good morning, everybody. It is an absolute pleasure to be sitting on this side of these bright lights. I've sat on those side of the bright lights for many years, and this is my first time on these side of them. So thank you for letting me get up here on this stage and taking your ears for a while. I'm used to presenting at Marriott training courses. That's my usual stage. And there's a few colleagues in the audience that have heard me present at those. And we usually do something at a Marriott training course where the first thing we do is you go around the room and you say, what's your name, what's your position, and how many years have you worked in the industry? And we tot up how many, in your head, you tot up how many years of industry experience there are sitting in that training room in front of you. And you say, at the end of it, you say, oh, with 150 years of Marriott experience in this room today, we'll be able to solve any problem that's thrown out at us, right? And I'm thinking, how many years of industry experience is sitting behind those bright lights in front of me? Because with all of that industry experience, we should be able to solve any of these connectivity problems that are thrown at us, right? We can change the world. Yeah. Where do I sit in the organization? Yeah. Sorry, that was your question.
Yeah. Where are you in the organization? What are the roles and goals?
So I lead a team of connectivity professionals here in the EMEA region for distribution. So from a Marriott perspective, we break distribution into three arms: commercial, connectivity, and then a support function. And we have professionals based in each continent that are heading up those three individual functions. So here I lead the EMEA arm of connectivity. Mm-hmm. We've also got commercial support in the region and the support function in the region. We manage accounts based on where they're geographically located. So me and my team that are here in the front row, we manage all of the connectivity relationships with all of the accounts that are geographically located in this region. So when we go and do reviews with all of our accounts, we go with our commercial counterparts and we sit there because there is always commercial and connectivity conversations to be had in all of those reviews. And it needs the commercial expertise and the connectivity expertise around the table to make sure that we're driving value out of those conversations. Okay. That's the function that we hold.
Okay, thanks for that, Nick. Everybody can look at your LinkedIn profile, so this isn't about your track record, which jobs you did to get to where you are, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about the person you are, your background, why hospitality, what's the passion that drove you to be in the position, the organization that you're in today?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. I was talking to my wife the other night about coming on stage here.
As you do.
As you do. I said, Matthew from Triometrics, because she knows you as Matthew from Triometrics, not Lighthouse yet. I've not introduced her to the Lighthouse brand. But I said, Matthew from Triometrics has asked me to go on stage and do this day in the life of a hotelier interview. And now my wife is a true hotelier. She worked at JW Grosvenor House and also the Hilton Metropole for many years. We keep it in the industry in our family. And she said, hang on a minute. She said, what do you know about being a hotelier? She said, you sit at our kitchen table 5 days a week behind your screen and you spend 7 hours a day on the telephone. She said, what in the world do you know about being a hotelier? But I reminded her that actually I did start my career 20 years ago as a restaurant manager. But what drives me today is, I think, when I was looking at your questions, I put down a passion for people, but that's far too cheesy, right? And I probably don't have a passion for people. And what I have a passion for is for fixing problems, right? I have a passion for finding out how things work, and my team will tell you this, right? I have a passion for looking at systems and processes and getting into the weeds with things and making sure, I like edge cases, right? I want to make sure that we've got right into the corners and found out how that process and that system is going to work, and that there's not going to be a problem with it when we roll it out. That's what drives me.
Okay. Right. Thanks very much. So, in terms of, let's talk about progress since the last HEDNA Europe, which was Milan.
Yeah.
So, what have been the key focus areas and achievements over the course of that last 12 months for you and your team?
Sure. So there's some big ones. And if you cast your mind back, you may remember that in 2022, Marriott announced a significant agreement with Amadeus to deploy the Amadeus Central Reservation System, known as ACRS. And the aim of that strategic move was to modernize Marriott's reservation infrastructure and transition from Marcia to ACRS to expand our commerce capabilities, to enable expanded functionality such as allowing guests to personalize their stay and do things like choosing their room attributes at the time of booking and also purchasing additional products such as golf and spa inside that book path. And as you can imagine, that's kept us quite busy since the announcement. And the disentanglement of that 40-year-old CRS has not been an easy task. Marcia is the cornerstone of our current business. Yeah. And in a lot of ways has shaped most of the business processes that we work with today. And for a lot of us that have grown up with Marriott, and there's a few out there, I think, we also grew up with Marcia. And we've had to change the way that our brains are programmed over the last couple of years and start to think in different ways as we look to what the future holds with new systems. So it's been hugely exciting since the last conference as we work with expanded teams, building new systems, the systems of tomorrow, building new projects. And while we've done all that and the tech project has moved forwards, the commercial teams haven't stood still. That big bad Marriott machine has moved forwards. So we're building the systems of tomorrow, but we're also maintaining the growth that Marriott's got today.
Running your business at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I had €1 for every person that I've met who had some history or had used Marcia in the past, I'd be very wealthy. It's surprising how many people have a background with Marcia at some point in their history in hospitality. Talking about the industry more generally, moving away from Marriott for the moment, what do you see as key trends and challenges over the nearer term?
Yeah, I can pull out a few for you, and I think we've talked about most of these in the past, and a lot of it have been talked about on the stage today. The first one I'd like to focus on is distribution controls. Hoteliers have done a huge amount of work over the last few years to control the onward distribution of product and to increase the controls over which room and rate is sold to who. But the industry is evolving. It's always evolving. Many people have said that on the stage today. And the controls that we put in place, as many as that we put in place, and as quickly as we do it, there's more back doors that are found to bypass them. I think designing the systems and processes of tomorrow to ensure that we stay ahead of that trend and maintain that control that the industry has started to establish and continues to establish is absolutely paramount.
Okay. Any other trends that you'd like to add?
I think one that we'd like to focus on is structured content. And to enable hoteliers to deliver the booking, loyalty, and service experience that guests demand in the 21st century. The acquisition, curation, and distribution of content needed to evolve. Now, the OTA standards for content are hugely useful in enabling us to distribute content, but their adoption across the industry is quite patchy. Now, when we talk content with most of our partners in the industry, before we get into conversations about how can I send you content, where are you going to store this content, how often do I need to update this content, where else are you pulling content from, what are you going to do with this content, where are you going to push it to? We start with a very simple question of, what do you define as content? What is content for you? But I think as hoteliers, our vision must be of a future where we can easily distribute property, room, and rate level content. A future where we distribute that content centrally from one source to our preferred partners without the use of extranets or spreadsheets. I think that's my vision.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Content means many things to many
people. Yeah. And I just want to clarify, I mean, the vision there is not to send normalized textual descriptions, but instead to distribute structured attributes that differentiate products. We're not talking about text, but structured attributes. That's the vision.
And anything else?
So I think the last one that I'd like to add, and it's been mentioned many times on the stage so far, is I think the second biggest buzzword after payments on this stage today is sustainability. And sustainability is a huge industry trend for us and leads on nicely from structured content. Personally, I'm a green advocate at heart, absolute green advocate. And it's right what people are saying. We are seeing more and more segments of our business take sustainability more and more seriously, whether that's our OTA partners that have sustainability flags that impact ranking on sites, or whether it's our corporate customers who have budgets on carbon spend. Sustainability is absolutely a driving factor in driving revenue for our properties. Now, various intermediaries are entering the market attempting to standardize sustainability information. But what works for one doesn't work for all. Now, we had an instance where one of these intermediaries, they tried to collect information from hotels. They tried to ring hotels, and any information they haven't got, they call the hotel and they ask them questions. Do you have solar panels? Do you use sustainable washing powder for your bed linen? And one GM reported to us that he'd had a conversation with one of these intermediaries. They rang him up and they said, do you have a retaining pond at your hotel? He says, all right. He said, I have no idea. He says, but I have a standing puddle outside the front of the hotel in the car park that I've not been able to get rid of. And they said, oh yeah, that counts. And they checked the box.
Tick.
Tick. Now, I think it's naive to think that the industry will adopt one standard for sustainability scoring. I don't think we can think that we can get there, but what we should do is approach this from a perspective of creating a standard of distributing environmental, social, and sustainability content in a structured way through our tech and official agency partners. And at the end of the day, this is just a different kind of content, right? It's content that we've not organized yet. There's not much difference here to parking policies or pet policies. It's just content we've not organized. And because we've not organized it, our hotels are suffering for it.
Thanks for that, Nick. So coming back to Marriott, 2024 priorities, what are the key initiatives and how are you going to deploy technology to help you with those initiatives?
I think you can probably guess at this one, but today, Marriott is building the tech foundation for tomorrow. And that's a framework that's going to, that's my Southeast London accent coming out, that's going to empower associates to deliver the booking, loyalty, and service experience that our guests demand. Marriott's technology partners are fundamental in our ability to deliver that service to our guests. ACRS is one system in a suite of many that are part of that transformation. The transformation includes 2 new PMSs that will ensure that Marriott's products are on the shelf at the right time, for the right guest, at the right price, with the right content. Now, Lighthouse, and I'm not paid for any plugs, but Lighthouse is also an example of a key partner that's enabled us to manage this connectivity infrastructure in a whole new way, giving us greater accuracy and insights, and it's enabled greater efficiencies to be driven through those connections, managing all of our errors. It's a fundamental product in the way that me and my team manage those connections. So a suite of tech that's enabling us to drive this efficiency forwards. We just spoke about distribution controls and structured content, and our tech partners are closely involved with us in helping to deliver this vision in 2024 and beyond. For me, as we move through this year and into next, my role is laser focused on the delivery of that new system. That's top in my goals. Making sure that we have a robust platform in place that can deliver those systems for 10,000 hotels by the time we start to transform them for the future of Marriott's distribution and that service delivery.
Great. Thanks for that, Nick. And we're almost out of time, so I'm just going to ask you to finish up on any key takeaways you may have for the audience.
I tried to think of 3 for you. Hopefully I've captured it in a nutshell, but I think number 1 is stay relevant. The way that our consumers want to interact with hotels is ever changing. And to make sure that hoteliers can facilitate that, we need to ensure that we own that content, right? It's acquisition, it's curation, and it's distribution. Stay relevant and own the content. Number 2, stay focused. Hopefully this analogy isn't lost, but I say we're on a highway, right? And we've got a Lamborghini on one side trying to get past, and there's a Lada on the other side that's taking up space. And I think what we need to do is to make sure that we're on the right track. And we need to cut loose the Ladas and maintain our preferred partners. Stay focused. The last one is really simple. It's work-life balance. And as busy as we all get, and right now, I don't think any of us have ever been as busy as we are, it's important to take time for yourself. And for me, it's summed up by one of my favorite country and western singers, Dolly Parton. She says, never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Those are my 3 key takeaways.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, on that note, just to say thank you very much for your time. It was very insightful, and I hope we can do it again sometime soon as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.